I'm Jen with Convicted Hearts, and if you have a convicted heart, you are in the right place. Today, I have the pleasure of being here with Victoria, not under great circumstances, but a very important message that I feel like everyone needs to hear. And she's going to go ahead and do us the honor of sharing her story today. Hi, Victoria. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
Good, good. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm Victoria Bristow, and I'm from Ohio. My son is from Columbus. That's my youngest son, Malcolm. And then I have an older son. His name is Austin, and he is from Chillicothe. We live in Ohio.
All right, great. So you have well, any daughters or just sons?
No, just two boys.
Two boys. Okay. And today we're going to be talking about Malcolm, right?
Yes, Malcolm Willis.
Malcolm Willis. So just to give everybody a little bit of context, can you go ahead and walk me into what's bringing us here today as far as Malcolm's story?
Malcolm Willis, he's 21 years old, and he was found unalived in Ross County Jail. They're saying that he committed suicide. So that's what is bringing me here.
You know, I didn't have a lot of time to research because, as you know, we only spoke a few hours ago before we started doing this. But am I reading that correctly, that he was only there for 9 hours before he was found?
It was actually, well, what happened was he was in Columbus where he lived. And this is a long story. There's a lot to it. So just to answer your question, he lived in Chillicothe, and he lived in Columbus, and he got pulled over because his tags were expired. And when they pulled him over, the officer would have not arrested him. He just would have gave him a ticket and sent him on his way. But he had a no warrant block from Ross County. So he had to take him in. And when he took him in, he went to Jackson Pike in Columbus, and he was there for 6 days in Columbus waiting to be extradited. Now, the day he went in, he called me. The next day, which was a Friday, the jail that he was in, that judge in Columbus had done, they needed to do like a hearing for extraditing. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And he approved it, and he sat there, and Ross County, now they said that they, had to wait for approval and that they were going to go get him. And, that to me, I know it's false because I literally had to call the jail, Ross County Jail, myself. And I spoke with a supervisor. That's why they went and got him. They're not wanting to tell that part. That's why they went and got him. So I'm a little nervous, so please forgive me.
I appreciate you being here, and it's completely understandable to be nervous. Everybody that is going to see this, they will understand. The majority of the Convicted Hearts audience are people who have been through trauma and grief, and very loving and supportive people. So just take your time.
Okay, yeah, because he passed away November the 5th of 2021. So it's fresh. It's 4 months.
Oh yeah.
So it's very fresh, very fresh for me. Yeah. And he didn't just leave his family behind. He left 2 children. At the time of his passing, his son, when he passed, it was 2 hours before his son turned 2 months old.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Yes. And then his daughter is 3. And my son's birthday, Malcolm's birthday, is December the 20th.
Okay.
Makira, his 3-year-old, her birthday is in December. So we missed all the holidays, all the birthdays.
And just right immediately after.
Immediately. Yes.
My goodness.
So that's how we spent our holidays, grieving, in shock, in pain.
Oh my goodness. That's something that a counselor once told me when I was seeking help for my own grief after my father was murdered. It's being involved. It's an involuntary group that we're thrown into. when we've lost someone tragically, is basically a membership that none of us want to sign up for, but we've forcefully been thrown into together. So that's why I just want to support you today. You know what I mean? And give you a voice and give your son's story a voice.
I
So,
appreciate it.
yeah.
The way I've looked at it is the way I feel personally. I feel like that I've been given a life sentence.
Yeah, I can see how you would feel that way. I don't think there's any greater loss than the loss of a child. And when it's tragic, I think that makes it even more intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm understanding correctly, he got pulled over because of tags. He wouldn't have even been taken in had it not been for this. It was a warrant out of another county. Is that right?
Yeah, Chillicothe. Yeah. And he was, they say less than 9 hours. He was only in there 5 hours when he was found.
Goodness.
And then there is a news, it's called Guardian. It's like a local news there in Chillicothe. And the jail has been so plagued there with suicides and overdoses leading to deaths. It's plagued with it. A dozen of suicides and a dozen of overdoses leading to deaths. So every time that he gets a call, that media guy runs out there and does a live. Well, he did a live, and people seen it, and they had no idea, including family members. They had no idea that it was my son they were in there talking about. So in the footage, it shows that the paramedics are coming out. And he states in the video that, well, it's not a good sign, guys. The lights are out, so they don't have anyone in there. So they left my son's body in there. And no one contacted me from the sheriff's department. They went to my son's door, my oldest son's door, at 2:00 in the morning. Mind you, this video went up 9:30, between 9:30 and 10:00. They notified my son at 2:00 in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
So it makes no sense to me. And I'm being told protocol. So it's protocol to have a body for 4 hours.
Well, they should have called you immediately. I mean, I've never heard of, I've heard of some corruption, but this is, that's insane.
They told me their excuse was that they didn't have my information. Now, mind you, I called up there to speak with someone in charge and ask them about Malcolm. So there's one phone call. Then when he got there, I needed to put money so that he could make calls. There's another phone call. Yeah, you have my information.
Yeah.
So this isn't just Ross County, okay? It's also Columbus. So my son was in Columbus and Pike, in Jackson Pike, and that jail is bad, very bad. My son was being brutalized in there.
When you say this was happening to your son, do you mean at the hands of other incarcerated
Inmates.
people? Okay.
Yes. So when he told me, I asked him, I said, like he kept asking for money. Well, we know what that means.
Yeah.
And we were giving the money to keep him safe. Well, that wasn't working. So I called, when he called me, with him not saying anything, I said, Malcolm, I said, I can call and, report this and try to see what I can do. He said, no, not yet, mama. So at 12:00 at night, he called me and I could hear an inmate yelling and screaming at him in the background. And he's trying to play it off. And he's like, Mom, do you remember what we talked about? And I said, yeah. He goes, can you do that? And I said, yeah. So I immediately hung up and called. Well, you know what they did? They shut the phones off to the cells and said, oh, we'll take care of it. So, the next day I got up and I went to work, and I had no sleep. I was sleep deprived, worried about my son. I got up, went to work. I could only work 2 hours. I was sick. I was sleep deprived. I just couldn't function. So I left work. I came home and I immediately got on the phone. Well, even before that, he had called me, and he was like pretending that he was okay, but I could hear 2 men in the background. And the one man hit my son. I heard him. My son screamed and got on the phone, and he was like, hey, this inmate, hey, Mama Deuce, your son's always playing too much. And he hung up the phone. So my son called me back and played it off. Oh, Mom, I hung up the phone. I said, Malcolm, are you okay? You know, and I'm crying. And he's like, yeah, Mom. Yeah, Mom. And this other inmate is asking questions about his family. Let me talk to your mom, you know, all in his face, because the guards have pulled him out of the cell and questioning him and then put him back in there. Now, let's talk about it. When you're in jail, there's a code.
Yeah. Sure.
You don't rat. So why would you guys take my son out of that pod, put him back in there to be brutalized? So, yeah. So this is what I had to do. Oh, this is big. This is what and this is all documented. So I called, they have like a social service there in the prison. So I called, I explained what was going on. And the first lady I talked to, she had said she had sent out emails to all the lieutenants. She was very sweet to me. Then she was just a secretary. The second lady I talked to, I guess, was in charge, and she was completely and absolutely nasty to me and was like, oh, you know, I've never lost an inmate, and your son's not telling the correctional officers. So basically there's nothing that we can do about it. He'll be fine. We can put in a report, but that's pretty much all we can do. I immediately hung up the phone. I Googled the NAACP in Columbus. I called that lady. That lady called the jail and had my son moved into another pod. When she had him moved into another pod, he called me and he said, Mama, what did you do? And I explained to him what I did. And then I heard his name be called over the intercom. Ross County had came and got him, because I called them and I told them what was going on. And that sergeant was nasty to me, said, well, you know, we're short on manpower. And I'm like, do you want him to die in there? And he's like, oh my God, hold on a minute, and hung up on me. And I didn't call back, but they did go get him. They did go get him. So the Ohio State investigator is investigating because they have to. And I put a complaint in for Columbus, and the complaint has come back that there is no video, there's no phones there. The NAACP, they don't have no records of it. My son wasn't being extorted. He wouldn't tell. There's no records at all, is what Columbus is saying.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right at all.
So my son was brutalized for a week, and then he died.
When that news came back to you, when your other son was notified, I'm so sorry.
Because you're going to ask me what it did to me, right? So I let out a scream that I can't get out of my head, that I never have heard ever in my life.
That guttural, just outcry. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hit the floor and I didn't move for about 2 hours. I couldn't move off the floor.
God bless you. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sure it was just shocking, obviously, and trying to wrap your head around that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did you have a support system there with you to try and help you out during that time?
Yeah, my son immediately came to me. He drove from Chillicothe, came immediately to me with his girlfriend and my mom. Yeah, they are my support system. My grandbabies. He has a best friend, Brooke and Tavon. Mackenzie is Makira's. Makira is Malcolm's daughter, and then Jocelyn is Marcel's, which is Malcolm's sons. They all support me. We're all in this together.
Good. That's exactly what I was hoping to hear. Thank God for that.
I'm in this battle by myself because I am fighting. So I'm the one that has to stand on the front line. So
you're his mother, his next of kin. Yeah. So I can't imagine the overwhelming feeling. It's all on your shoulders, it's got to be heavy to deal with.
It is. It's a lot, but I have to do it for my son.
I can tell you're determined to do justice for your son. I just have to mention also, in the few short videos I had seen on your social media, your son looked like such a joyful person.
Oh my God, he was so beautiful. Yes. He was so beautiful. He got along with everybody. He could go anywhere and fit in. He loved to dance. He loved to sing. He loved to be goofy. He is so missed.
Yeah. So it didn't strike me at all like, not that I know everything, but he didn't strike me as someone that would look to harm himself, or he looked like he had a lot to live for, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, he had just had a son.
Baby. Yeah.
You just had a baby, and no child is perfect.
Sure.
None of us are.
Nope.
And I'm sure he had his problems, but
we all do, right?
Yeah.
It's human nature. We all do.
Yeah. He loved his son, and he was so happy to have him and to get to know him. There's videos of him talking about it before Jocelyn gave birth. And Makira, that was baby Kai Kai. That's what he called her. That was his light, his soul. The babies are so identical to him. They're his twins.
Yeah, I noticed that in that video. I was like, wow, it's like his thumbprint are definitely on those babies. They look just like him.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. I do have a lawsuit I am fighting. I went through a lot with it, and my son was not even supposed to have that warrant. Okay, so it gets deeper. So when it was an OVI, it was a misdemeanor. He was only supposed to serve 30 days. That was it. 30 days. So the judge gave him a date to turn himself in, and it was at the beginning of when COVID hit. Okay. So his best friend drove him up there, and he went there twice to the sheriff's office to turn himself in, and they turned him away and told him that they didn't have paperwork, so they couldn't take him in. So he called me, and I said, Malcolm, call your attorney and let her know. Well, he had a public defender. So he did. He called her, and she said, well, I'll see what's going on and I'll give you a call. So what did he do? 21 years old. He went on about his life.
Sure.
So what happened? He got a warrant put out for his arrest. So when I called and inquired about that, guess what? His public defender no longer represented him. Well, that's weird. They did not want to fool with me at all. So they sent me to the director, which is Joe. I'm going to butcher his last name. I'm sorry. It's Joe Medici or something like that. But he is the director of the Ohio Public Defender's Office. He called me. And he was like, your son, the attorney had to drop him, because I asked him, I said, well, did she drop him because she didn't do her job, or why did she drop him? And he was said it was it was what did he say? Like she couldn't represent him no more. My mind went blank.
Like a conflict of interest?
Yes, that's it. Yes. There you
okay.
go. And I'm like, a conflict of interest? And he couldn't really go into why. So he gives me this lawyer from Columbus and says, well, he has your case now. So I called and I told him where Malcolm was at. Malcolm had just gotten Ross County. So I told him where Malcolm was at. And he goes, okay, I'll look into it and I'll get back with you. So, okay, well, so the next day, Malcolm's gone. He's passed. So I get a call from Joe. I'm so sorry. I read about it. Something's not right. If there's anything I can do, you need a civil attorney. Let me check it out. I never heard from him again. The attorney calls me and he goes, Miss Bristow, I just read about it. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. Let me look into it. So he's in his computer trying to put Malcolm's information in. He's not getting anything. So he's like, I'm going to have to check. Hold on a minute. So he hangs a phone up with me. A little bit later, he calls me back. He goes, Miss Bristow, I can't even find Malcolm. I don't even understand how you got my number. He goes, there's somebody else's case that I have. I don't even know how I got Malcolm's information. I don't know what's going on. And that was the end of it, and never heard from him again. So you tell me, what is really going on?
Right. It sounds like, I mean, I'm just speaking as my own person. Sounds like a lot is going on, and it sort of got passed to this person, that person, and then they cut you off once they realize there's an issue here and we better tuck our tails and hide. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, and my son, I just want to clarify this. I am Caucasian, as you can see, but my son is biracial.
Yes.
And he very much loved both of his sides.
Yeah.
He was very in tune with being biracial.
Right.
So when you speak to someone about suicide that is Black,
yeah,
by hanging,
yeah, that's a great point. It's a very tragic point. That's not something that I would think would be the go-to for unalivings theirself, you know.
Yeah.
Oh. What did you, and this is a sensitive topic as well, what were you told? Because I'm assuming he did have some type of test done after he was found. And what were you told about his injuries, if anything?
I was told, which I seen myself. Are you talking about like from the corner?
Yes, yes.
He had, they talked about the, like, I guess the marks, I guess, but I took pictures. I didn't see no marks. I just seen like, when I looked at it, my personal opinion is like his neck looked broke because the one side was like a layer of skin like hung over. Yeah. And it was just on the one side. And my son had a full black ink tattoo across his neck.
Okay.
So there I see no makeup on it. I took pictures. I viewed his body because we had an open casket. His neck looked really huge, like, you know, his Adam's apple looked really big. There was marks on his back too, and I documented there was a welt on his forehead, and so Ross County, this is how they do it. Ross County Coroner does the criminal investigation, like when you go to the jail, but they don't do the autopsy. They send the body to Montgomery County, which is Dayton. They do the autopsy. So they use an outside source. So when I talked to the coroner at Ross County about the mark on his head, he said, well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But in the autopsy, the Montgomery County coroner office documented that it was there.
Okay. So it was there at the time of death. Okay.
Yeah. And there was a mark on his knee. He had a mark on his knee also. And I seen he had bruises all over him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I
seen
was curious of is it would be one thing if it was the abrasion around his neck alone, but the fact that there was other abrasions, different areas of his body is definitely concerning.
Yeah, and I took pictures of everything.
Good. I bet that was very difficult, but it's very smart of you to have done that.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to say something else too. So the coroner's office, Ross County, they called me, the guy called me when the autopsy was ready, and he was like, okay, the autopsy is ready. And I said, okay. He goes, I just need you to fill out this request because I'm next of kin because the babies are minors and Malcolm was never married. So that makes me his next of kin.
Yes.
So I put in for the request and got the autopsy, but I'm with this group that's called we're Mothers United. We've lost children, either murdered in the streets or in jail, or, you can't find their babies. We've just all joined together. Good. And excuse me, I heard her talking about, she had an autopsy, but she also had the crime photos and all documentation. And I was like, hold on a minute. What? I don't got that. So I emailed him and I said, hold on, why don't I have any of this information? Right. And he was like, well, you didn't ask for it. And I said, I'm a mother that has never went through this. Why did you not tell me what I needed to do? Because in order to get everything, you gotta send in a written letter to them in order for them to get it. So I felt like that's just weird to me. Why wouldn't you tell me, well, Miss Bristow, you could do it this way, and then if you want, why wouldn't you tell me that? And he didn't.
Yeah, why wouldn't you just put all of the information out there from the get-go?
And he didn't.
I don't like that. Yeah. You're doing the right thing by trusting your gut because this does not add up.
I just there's a lot that I can't talk about. Right. So, if it doesn't line up, then there's something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys just keep in mind that there is, an ongoing case or investigation, right, Victoria, that we don't want to jeopardize. So if there's certain questions I can't ask right now, or, things don't make complete full sense, it's because we're not trying to jeopardize that. We're just trying to get the message out today. Where did you go from there, Victoria, after finding out all of this? You had a service for your son.
In the midst of my mind broke. Yeah. Completely. So I had a really good support team. So I had a service. And then after that, I kind of just didn't know how to deal with it. And then, I started a support page for him, and I've been on every platform just to let his story be known and who he was. Because, I have a death certificate that says suicide by hanging. So, you have so many heartbreaks when you lose someone. My heart breaks because his children, they're going to be affected by that. When they get older and can understand that, the question is going to be, why did my daddy leave me? And it's like, I just don't sit well with me, and it's a lot to take in. It really is.
It really is. And you know what? His children and you, everyone, the whole family deserves the very correct, right answer to these questions. Because you're right, that is going to be a question eventually that they have. I've heard from other people who I've spoken with, and there's been situations where their parent had allegedly passed the same way, and somewhere they were said to have passed that way that didn't, in fact. And that was very important information for them to find out. So that
Yes.
it can, I'm sure, affect the healing process greatly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the name of the group that you started so people can follow?
It's Mothers United. It's a whole group of us on TikTok, and it's Mothers Against a Broken Justice System.
Okay. Great. And then do you have your own support group or your own group you started just for your son?
On my TikTok,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay.
my whole page is a support.
Dedicated to, yeah.
It's dedicated to him. It's for people to know who he is. They don't see much of me because it's a support page. I want people to be able to look at my son and his children and the moms and the grandma and the brother and then my other grandson that I have, just the family. So it's a complete support page. But I do support other mothers also on there that go through this. I embarked on a journey when I lost my son because I never realized how many people are out there that have fallen victim. And it's like there is light in it, but it's also so dark because you don't realize how many mothers are out there screaming and crying until you go through it yourself. And then they'll come to me. I've had to call a couple of them and we counsel each other. And I look at it, my faith is really strong in God. And if God wants me to embark on this journey, if I can save one life with my son's story, then I've done my job honoring him.
That's right. That's right. I love the way you're looking at this. Like, you have the best outlook on such a tragic event, and sharing your testimony is going to be very healing for others. And it will be, not that it will take it away, but it will be a sense of healing for you as well along your
Yeah.
journey. What is the name of your TikTok page again, so people can go
It's
follow you?
Victoria Bristow 1.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and put it in the description as well when I do upload this. That way people can check it out. But yeah, that's where I found you. So I know that beautiful, beautiful pictures of the children and your son. I would encourage everyone to go show support. And is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up? And any message you'd like to send?
No, I just appreciate you for reaching out and showing my support and just showing that you care. It means a whole lot
So you know.
Yes,
Okay.
to you. And I just want people to know that my son was such a beautiful soul, and this world didn't deserve him. They didn't deserve him. So but he has children and they will carry his legacy on. And the mothers are strong women and they will let them babies know how much that he was loved.
Yes.
And my oldest son will do the same. And I just appreciate you so much for reaching out to me.
Thank you for trusting me with your son's story. And before we close out, I just want to say that my prayer for you and my prayer going forward for you is that what was done in the dark will come to light, and the Lord will continue to have his hand on you and the entire family.
Thank you so much.
Okay, hang tight. I'm going to wrap this up. All of you guys, thank you for watching. Please go support Victoria. Show her a ton of love. She deserves it. This is a warrior mom right here. So always remember, guys, keep your heart convicted. You never know when your family may be in the same position. So keep that tenderness and love in your heart always.